Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner Circle Sports Betting Channel. I'm your host, Ross Benjamin of the Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Monday, August the 21st. And like every Monday, I am joined by that handsome gentleman on the other side of me, Mr. Doug Upstone, one of the finest handicappers you'll find anywhere on the internet and in the country, North America for that matter. How about the world? All right. Well, we can't go beyond the world, so I'll leave it at that because you're certainly not an alien, my friend. How are you, Doug?
Yeah, there are people that do feel that way, especially when I start open my mouth and start talking about certain subjects. But anyways, no, that's another story for another day. So yeah, I'm good, Ross. Hey, we got college football coming up this week, week 0, which I think, by the way, is a very clever name. I thought that was well done. Whoever came up with that. So we have that coming up. So what else? We had preseason football this past weekend, plus a variety, lots of baseball and stuff like that. So it was an interesting weekend. And as I was mentioned, I know you'll mention him again, Jim, who is the owner of Winner Circle, is that had a little conversation with him. And maybe, sometimes, you do this 365 days a year. Sometimes you just make some, let's just call them silly mistakes. And I did,
Oh yeah.
okay, this
Oh
weekend
yeah.
on a couple things. And one, I'll make this real quick on this point, is
Sure.
typically a good play at week 2, or at least to look at, is take the loser of week 1 facing a team that won in game 2, and so whatever the situation, doesn't matter what the points are, take the loser. And this week, that in that case, they won 6 out of 7. Well, I should say covered 6 out of 7. Okay, from that standpoint. And I didn't take all of those that did. So that was, it's not like I
Yeah.
didn't know. I just didn't take it to the end.
Sometimes I don't know about you, Doug, but I'm guilty of being too cute or outsmarting myself or overthinking. And I think not
Overthinking's the
only
word. Yep.
myself, but a lot of handicappers go through that to do this for a livelihood. Just your general thoughts in that area.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no question, and that was my point. 365 days, a year. It's hard enough for most people to work 5 days a week, okay, and
Yeah.
get through the week and be successful at what they do. Let alone, what we do, making selections that determine our financial fate on a daily basis, because of that. So it definitely, you're going. Everybody has those types of things where you make those types of things. It's just when you do it and better, that's when it hurts a little more.
Absolutely. In any event, speaking of Jim Quinn, he's not only the owner of the Winner Circle Sports Betting Channel, but also the owner of Gamblers World and Gamblers World.com, I should say, and gamblersworld.net. And then they are our sponsors. And Jim is our sponsor. And Jim is the big kahuna. I call him the Mighty Quinn. Anyway, folks, if you go to gamblersworld.com, it's our video section of our company. You'll see not only all of our Winner Circle sports betting podcasts on that site, but you also see guys like Doug Upstone, who does his daily videos every day for Doc Sports. Doug does a little 5-minute short video every day. Tremendous free pick record during those videos. Also gives out a West Coast Wise Guys pick at the end of every one of those videos. And I encourage you to check those out, as well as Jesse Schul, who puts up his daily free pick videos for Jim on Gamblers World as well. So a lot of good stuff there. Gamblersworld.net. All right, folks, it's football season. We got subscription plans up. We got an annual packages in college football, the NFL, and football all together, meaning college football, NFL combined. Right now until August 31st. If you sign up, you're going to get $100 off the normal pricing. And folks, we have 10 of the finest handicappers in the country that you'll see anywhere on the internet. No, Doug is not on that, but if he wasn't under contract by Docs, he would be. So I think he could grin and bear my promo here. And also, folks, the best thing about gamblersworld.net, when you buy a single game or a multi-game daily package or all subscription plans of 30 days or less, if you don't make a profit according to our grading system, you will be credited the exact amount of your purchase price into your account. You could use that anytime you wish for any handicapper your wish. So if you lose with handicapper A when you initially buy and you lost and you paid $35 for that pick, you got $35 in credit. You don't have to stick with handicapper A. You could, because you can't measure a handicapper in just with one pick. But if you choose not to, that's okay. You could choose one of the other 9 guys. So there you go, folks. Don't forget again, that's gamblersworld.net. We give you our guarantee on a daily basis. And also, folks, $100 off NFL, college football, or college football, NFL combined annual packages right now until August 31st. Take advantage while you could. All right, Doug, let's get back to you, buddy. Navy and Notre Dame on Saturday. I'm really interested in what you have to say on this matchup. I know Navy, now they bring in a new head coach. He's been their defensive coordinator for the last couple of years. They bring a lot back on defense. Notre Dame, once again, a top 10 ranked team in a preseason poll. And at this point, I have to say, this is about as justified as I can make Notre Dame a top 10 in recent years as I can remember. And it all starts with this. I've been saying this for years, Doug. How does Notre Dame not have a top flight quarterback? They're a powerhouse in college football. Yet they always seem to have these average or underachieving quarterbacks. Now they bring in senior transfer Sam Hartman from Wake Forest, who put up monster numbers at Wake Forest and is going to have a better supporting cast around him. Doug, I'm interested in what you have to say about this game. Right now, Notre Dame's a 20.5-point favorite.
Yeah, that's always been a good question. And obviously, when you go back over the years, Notre Dame was kind of thought of quarterback back decades ago. Just, the style of play, the type of coaches that they've had, all of those types of things have contributed to where their situation is today, or has been in terms of quarterbacks. And then the other problem that they've had along with quarterbacks is that has impeded their ability to get quality wide receivers. So those kind of two things went hand in hand. And that's why Notre Dame, the focus of their team for years, especially during the Brian Kelly era, was tight ends with some decent wide receivers and, average to above average quarterbacks, but they made it work along with the running game. But those days are gone. Marcus Freeman is now the coach of this team. But by the way, Ross, I'm going by the AP and the other, it's top 13. Notre Dame's actually coming in at 13. Right. Now they might be a top 10 team, maybe in the not too distant future from that standpoint. But, now they have a top flight quarterback. Now, I have to admit, I think Sam Hartman's going to be really good, but I'm not sold. And I'll tell you why I'm not 100% invested with him is because I have seen those games where he's had 5 or 6 interceptions and thrown 2 or 3 pick sixes in those games. So that's something that's on his plate a little bit there. So that's a little bit concerning there, and why he didn't go to the NFL when this is his 6th year, by the way, why he didn't have the opportunity. It sounds like to me he's making more money as a collegiate than he would make as a professional at this point. Nonetheless, okay, he's already the focus of the team. He's their main player. Offensive line is going to be very strong. I think the pass blocking will improve because there's more of a concerted effort to throw the ball. So I think the run game, along with that, they always have a stable of running backs that are going to be good. Defensively, this Notre Dame team is going to be better. The front line has been reworked. I think it'll be more athletic. Linebackers are still excellent, can stop the run, fill the gaps. Secondary is going to be outstanding. Now, against Navy, doesn't mean as much other than stopping the run for the most part. Now, the Navy, changed coaches, but the culture is going to be the same because the guy that they hired, Brian Newberry, he was the defensive coordinator, so he just basically moved up. They're an interesting defensive team because what they do is they attack the run, and they're big on rushing the passer in obvious pass situations. So they can create some havoc, and they did that in last year's game. Notre Dame was up 35-13 at halftime, and then Navy's defense shut them down completely and made it a game, 35-32. I think Notre Dame was a 17-point favorite. Now, Navy, they have a different quarterback and a newer offensive system. They're still going to run the option, but it'll be different than what we're used to seeing. We're going to see a lot more throwing. Whether they have a quarterback that's going to be able to complete those passes, well, we'll see in this game, or at least start to see in this game. So, Ross, and looking at this one, I think Navy's run defense will cause some early problems for Notre Dame, but I think Notre Dame's overall strength and size will come through. And if you look at the history of this series, one of the things that happens when Notre Dame and I was just say, other than when Charlie Weiss is the coach, I'll give you that qualifier.
Or Jerry Faust.
Jerry Faust too. Yeah. He didn't lose as often, but at least to Navy. But the thing is that whenever they play a close game, typically the following year, Notre Dame lays the leather to them. Notre Dame still defensive line. They'll get the penetration, slow down that running game, force them to throw the ball. They have an excellent defense. I am going to say, take Notre Dame plus the 20.5. Here we go.
Minus the 20.5. Minus
20.5. And I think they're going to end up winning this game by 24 points altogether. Give me the Irish on this one, Ross, to get the job done.
There you go. I mean, how could you not take the Irish? Not only the Irish, but the Fighting Irish in a game played in Dublin when the owner of your channel and the sponsor of your show is the mighty Quinn. Boy, oh boy. There you go. Notre,
by the way, the last time they played in Dublin at this stadium was 2012, and Notre Dame won 50-10.
There you go. So Notre Dame minus 20.5 over Navy. Doug says, hey, you know what? Navy's going to hang with them early, but the size and athleticism of Notre Dame will eventually wear them down in the second half, and he likes them to pull away late and win by 24 points or more. So, but you know what? I think Doug will take it if they win by 21. So Notre Dame is your pick there. I'm going to look at Hawaii and Vanderbilt. Not two programs that aren't really notorious and don't win a lot. But you know what? You got to give Vandy's program a little bit of credit. Under first-year head coach Clark Leach last year, they went 5-7. Now, that's uninspiring to a lot of you out there. But when you're talking about Vanderbilt football, winning 5 games is a big deal because they haven't done that since 2018. And not only that, they won 2 games in the SEC. They defeated Florida and Kentucky late in the year. So those were 2 teams that went to a bowl game a season ago. And a quarterback that was drafted really high by the Indianapolis Colts at Florida. But anyway, Vanderbilt's a 17.5-point home favorite. This game starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday the 26th. If you're interested, it's on the SEC network. These teams met last year, and Vanderbilt just absolutely crushed Hawaii 63-10 and easily covered as a 9-point favorite. Now, Hawaii returns 9 players on defense, but I often say if you return 9 players on defense, 9 players on offense, if your defense was horrible last year, your offense was horrible, is that a big deal? I don't think so, especially going against an SEC opponent. But this is a unit that allowed 41 points or more in 6 of 12 games versus FBS opponents last year. This is also a Hawaii team that's gone 2-11 against the spread since 2014. I should say a Hawaii program that's gone 2-11 against the spread since 2014 in non-conference games as an away underdog of 42 or less. And that includes 0-5 straight up in ATS in their last 5 in that role, losing by an average of 27.6 points per contest. Now, not only is Vandy coming off a 5-7 season, they returned 15 players. And when it comes to returning starter production, they rank number 32 in the country. So that's something to hang your hat on. And they have a lot of momentum going in this year. I believe that they're going to come out of the box swinging hard. And since 2011, by the way, the Vanderbilt football program, as much as they struggle in the SEC, they've gone 13-2 straight up and 9-6 against the spread as a non-conference home favorite. And I got one of those betting angles, Doug. The ones that usually work or work the majority or the higher probability of the time. Not always going to win, but I'm going to stake my claim to this one. any non-conference college football home favorite of 14 to 20.5 points. Remember, Vanderbilt's minus 17. They won 9 games or less the year before. And they're facing a team that's playing with revenge like Hawaii is, 18-2 against the spread since 2003 in that situation. By the way, folks, I'm sorry, that's a non-conference home favorite of 14 to 20.5, playing in game 1 of the season that won 9 games or less the previous season, and they're playing a team with revenge. 18-2 against the spread, that's 90% since 2003, and 10-0 straight up in ATS since 2010 with an average victory margin of 34.3 points per game. I would not be shocked at all if the final result falls within that point per game parameter that I just mentioned. And I'm going to take Vanderbilt here, minus 17 over Hawaii, Doug.
Yeah, I'm a little more hopeful for Hawaii. I'm not saying they're, if you lose 63-10, there's not a lot, to say there, but they're going to be better on both sides of the ball. Tommy Chang was in his first year at the school trying to change the culture. They got a bad stadium situation right now, even playing at home where they used to have, pretty decent home field advantage. But, but they don't have near the size or the speed, SEC speed against Hawaii. Good luck with that, from that standpoint. And I like Clark Lee. By the way, Clark Lee was I believe the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame before he took the Vanderbilt job. And so he's well thought of, well regarded. And there's many that feel that if he can have a little more success at Vanderbilt, he can land himself a bigger job. With that in mind, I think Vanderbilt has just got too much power. I like Swan at quarterback, for them. I like what they can do. And I think that they can slow them down. I'll go 21 to 25 points for Vanderbilt to win this by. Nowhere near last year, but more than good enough to cover the spread in this one. Ross, I'm with you 100% on this.
Well, there you go. You got guys that agree with each other on this show. That doesn't always happen, and that's okay. If you disagree, we disagree, I should say. It's a healthy situation. We're not trying to two-side games on you. What we are telling you is we always stick to our results being the assigned game that each one of us have, regardless of what anybody else's opinion is. And if you've been following us over the last 2 weeks in the NFL preseason, you're doing awfully well. 11-5 in week 1, 8-6 so far this week. I have a free pick video podcast, I should say, up right now on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. I have the winning total in the Washington and Baltimore game. So follow it there. I say 8-6, and there's only one game tonight. Keep in mind, folks, the Green Bay game, okay? 21-17, Green Bay was ahead. The game got suspended with 10 minutes to go. That's not an official game. It has to go at least 55 minutes for an NFL game to be an official game. So if you bet on that game like one of my guys did, and he had a local bookie, I said, you better check, because make sure he voids that bet, because that's not an official game. And sure enough, he did not void the bet, and it got corrected. So not only are we helping people with our picks here, Doug, we're instructing them when situations happen like that. In any event, Doug, tell the folks how you've been doing of late and what you may have coming up.
Yeah, so Ross, I mentioned the NFL preseason 2-1. I have a selection as well tonight on that game. 2-1 over the weekend. As I was talking to Jim before, I loved Seattle. Okay, on the weekend, but as I said, you can't take a favorite at 7 points in the preseason. It never wins. So yeah. I talked myself out of it and took the Jets instead. So I get what I deserve, okay, on that one. That's just, but that's the way that goes. But so still 77-54, the last 131. That's going back 15 years. I will have probably just one or two. I'm not a big last week of the season guy in terms of for preseason, so I'm just looking for one or two spots, and that's all I'll be looking at. from that. Then also college football's coming up. Okay, looking forward to that one for the last 6 years. Major League Baseball, 23-13 run the last 22 days. That's been strong. Canadian football didn't do as well as I had hoped for that, but got some strong stuff coming up for this upcoming week because I like the schedule a lot better. And the other thing that something different for me at Docs, they have done it for years. I have passed, but I decided to jump in the water, put my toes in before jumping in with both feet now. Futures bets. So right now you can pick up futures, college and pro. I got 4 picks all together. One of them is an 8-unit top play. Okay, for future. Some people, hey, they say, well, I don't want to tie up my money. Okay, well then don't. Nobody's saying you have to, but there's people that are interested in. And I have 4 of my top plays. 2, like I said, 2 NFL, 2 in college, ready to go. And that's available at the government page at Doc Sports right now.
There you go. A lot of winning to be done. And Doug, I could tell you from experience, this guy, he's near or at the top of the leaderboards in various sports on an annual basis. We don't always have great years in particular sports every year, but I can almost assure you that at some point, Doug is going to have 1 or 2 sports that are really cooking, and keep an eye on him over at docsports.com. And that's a site that's been around for over 50 years, folks. So longevity speaks volumes in this business. Anyway, my NFL preseason, 4-2 this week, 2-0 last week, 6-2. The winning just continues. I got an NFL preseason game of the year tonight. I got the winning side in Baltimore and Washington, folks. 6-2 this year, 24-12 since 2001, 79-54 since 2010. That's good for 59%. That's all documented over at Sports Capping. My Major League Baseball, I am on a 19-11 run since August the 4th. In college football, like Doug brought up, I finished last season in college football on an 18-7 run. That's good for 72%. And I'm going to carry that over into September. And you can find all of my picks, including my NFL preseason game of the year, over at gamblersworld.net. Don't forget, folks, there's a like button at the bottom of the screen. As a matter of fact, if you're watching on a PC, there's a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your video box. Just click on that. That'll act as your subscribe button. Most of you are watching on your mobile device. You'll see a black subscribe button right underneath your video box. You can't miss it. The best part about subscribing with us, first of all, you're watching our channel. So you're a sports betting advocate. You're a sports betting fan. You're a sports betting guru, whatever you want to call yourself. We're giving you a lot of information here on a weekly basis, on top of picking winners on a consistent basis since we began 3 years ago. Folks, we fill you with just more than free pick winners. We fill you with some of the best sports betting information that will make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. Give us a like, and just a small token of your appreciation for all the efforts that we put in on this channel. Doug will be back with us on Thursday, and we'll be talking. I don't know what we'll be talking then. I haven't decided yet, but I know for one thing for sure. Tuesday and Wednesday morning.
Too, Ross. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One thing for sure. I know we won't be talking about Canadian football. I know that for sure.
No, we will not. No, we will not. We probably won't be talking about NFL preseason either. There you go. I don't, Canadian football, like I said, don't get me going on that topic, Doug. You know how to press my buttons. Anyway, until the next time, which will be tomorrow morning, I will be with Jesse Shula and Sean Higgs. Wednesday morning as well with the same 2 gentlemen. We'll be discussing more college football for the following Thursday and Friday action, because that's when we really start to get into the swing of things. There's only 7 games on the board on Saturday. Me and Doug covered 2 of them. And folks, we would like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. For Ross Benjamin, Doug Upstone, Mr. Jim Quinn, and my man Seth. Give my man Seth a shout out. He's the best graphic guy in the business, and more than anything else, he's got to put up with me on a daily basis. Wow. Anyway, till the next time, folks, take care and God bless.